Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Spencer Highsmith, young farmer advisor for Coffee County, but I also have the honor and privilege to serve as the co-chair for the Young Farmers and Ranchers Junior Board. You know, part of my job is to advocate for agriculture and influence future generations that's going to be involved in our industry. And with today being September 6th, National Read a Book Day, it is my honor and privilege to read one of my favorite books, John Deere, That's Who, by Tracy Nelson Moore and illustrated by Tim Zeltner. You know, I want to start off though first. How many of y'all love tractors? You know, whenever I was growing up, I used to love tractors. I remember riding on my daddy's lap in the field whenever we were picking peanuts, baling hay, whatever it is. But you know, one thing about tractors is they all come in different colors. How many of y'all love red tractors? How many of y'all love blue tractors? How many of y'all love the famous John Deere green tractors? That's what I'm talking about, boys and girls. That's one of my favorite tractors right there. And we're going to learn a little bit more about John Deere today in his book entitled John Deere, That's Who. Let's get started. Back in John Deere's day, long before tractors and other newfangled contraptions, Americans dug the land with the same kind of plow that farmers had used as long as anyone could remember. That plow in the 1830s was surely less than perfect, but it worked. So who would want to change it? John Deere, that's who. But John didn't set out to build a new plow right away. He was just another young blacksmith from Vermont. A hard-working one, mind you. His fine skills earned him buckets of praise. Still, times were tough and folks sometimes failed to pay him. John's business struggled. Then disaster struck. His forge burned to the ground. Of course, John rebuilt it, and then another fire. Soon, he was out of cash and out of luck. Man, John had a hard time right in there, didn't he? 2 forges, 2 fires, woo! John needed a fresh start, so with a few of his best iron-working tools, he joined the stream of pioneers headed west in 1836. He planned to send for his wife and children when he was settled. How would y'all like to ride over 1,000 miles in the back of a wagon? That would be rough white riding, don't you think? Luck started to shine on him when he arrived in Grand Detour, Illinois. The little town needed a blacksmith to fix broken pots and pans, horseshoes and pitchforks, and shovels and plows, lots and lots of plows. John quickly built a forge. Smoke poured from a slow fire that burned from the sunrise to sunset, and sometimes longer than that. Clang, clang, clang made the sound as John beat on the metal. That man was a workhorse, hammering red-hot iron to repair tools so they were as good as new, even better than new. John also fixed the farmers' heavy iron plows again and again. John had his work cut out for him, didn't he? Stubborn, twisted roots deep under the prairie banged up the iron blades. Even worse, the thick, rich soil the farmers called gumbo in a not-so-nice way stuck to their plows like gummy black snowballs. Farmers had to stop every so often to scrape the gumbo off with a paddle. That made a day's work take a lot longer. You know, a good analysis of that is, y'all ever stepped in clay and then it's got all on the bottom of your shoes and it don't matter how much you scrape and scrape, it just don't seem to come off? Just imagine that on a heavy plow. Whew. I'm breaking a sweat just thinking about how much work that is. John heard the farmers complain again and again. "I reckon I'm cleaning that plow pert near every few steps. It's gonna take me forever and a day to plow my claim. Ugh, this heavy plow wrenches the dickens out of my back." They were some complaining farmers, weren't they? Lord Jesus. They were tuckered out. Summer farmers talked about hightailing it back east, where the soil was sandy and easy to till. John didn't want to lose his customers, though. Truth be told, he missed his family, and he had a debt to pay off. That's when John set his mind to building a new, better plow. Look at all that thick gumbo that was on that plow blade. Woo! Sweating more and more just looking at it. He tried new plow angles. He studied how the gumbo clung to the tiny pits in the iron. It's a fair guess that John already knew of other plow designs that called for lightweight steel rather than heavy iron. But steel was rare that far east and way too pricey. Then one day at the sawmill in 1837, John found a broken steel saw blade that he could take back to his smithy. There John chiseled off the saw's teeth and cut the steel into the shape of a plow's blade. That's pretty ingenious. He curved it over a log so it would shrug off the soil. Then he polished the steel as shiny as his mother's sewing needles. Those needles could slip through like calico like a hot knife through butter. Maybe a shiny plow would slice through this gumbo. The town's families gathered at the locals' farmer's field to watch John test his gleaming self-polisher. They didn't expect much, but who amazed them all? Who do y'all think? Could it be John? John Deere, that's who. Stories of the day claim he dug 12 rows, neat as you please. Many farmers were still leery though. John built several plows for farmers to try in their own fields. Test after test, John's smooth steel plow cut so quickly and easily, it truly hummed down the rows. In time, customers began asking for Mr. Deere's singing plow. You can bet John was happy to send for his family in 1838 and mighty relieved to settle his debt 5 years later. In another 5 years, the entire Deere family moved to Moline, Illinois. John wanted, John wanted his company closer to the Mississippi River for better water power and easier deliveries. All the while, John kept tinkering with the plow design to keep his customers happy. Under his leadership, John's company sold tens of thousands of those singing plows and other horse-drawn equipment. Farmers plowed the prairie soil faster than ever. They planted more than enough food for their families, selling the extra crops. Farming grew into a business, and the prairie's fields of grain became known as America's breadbasket. So who changed the plow for America's farmers? Who changed the nation forever? John Deere, that's who. Thank y'all guys for allowing me the opportunity to read one of my favorite books entitled John Deere, That's Who. Again, I cannot stress the importance of the day of National Read a Book, because literacy and reading books is one of the things that can take you anywhere. My mama's also made the analogy many times that even places she's never been, after reading a book, she can imagine what it'd be like there. And that's the beauty of reading, guys. It can take you anywhere that you desire. So again, on National Read a Book Day and every day thereafter, make sure that you continue to read and continue building your literacy skills. Thank y'all and have a blessed day.